I know I'm very aware, and I think because it is about discovery, and I believe that more and more, and I do think since I've started teaching, I've got that. It's the one thing I've learned to think in the last 2 years is this idea that maybe in certain senses we've got too atomised in the activities, and we've got to in our differentiation and things like that, and I'm saying I'm talking about me here. I think I have done it, no, not badly, but in that limited kind of way. Whereas when you read something, you go, "Oh no, I've been getting it wrong," like the Weinberg stuff, you know what I mean, and a lot of that historical thinking. And it's more about, the historical thinking is about that discovery, you know what I mean, and so whereas the teacher doesn't know, and I think it's one of those things that we as history teachers go, oh yes, no, we're all learning and all like this, but ultimately, like sometimes I think us as teachers go, no, well I do know actually.
I'm telling you sometimes.
Yes. So I think there's a wee bit of that going on as well. But I think in the last 2 years I've really kind of looked at that, and especially this year I really wanted to come back to that. So the Holocaust stuff in year 9, I started with a big questioning thing.
Yes.
And I find that really interesting.
Yes.
And
what was the big question?
Well, I didn't set them a big question.
Right.
I basically put up Clifford's Tower in York.
Okay. Right.
And I said, what image do you get of this? And they were going, oh, it's lovely, flowers, great stuff, all this sort of thing.
No idea of the associations.
And no idea of association, which is great, which is fine. And then I explained the association, and then said, but the weird thing is the National Trust don't say that at the bottom of it, that this is what happened here. And then they were going, oh well, why would that be? Oh, you only want to say a certain image and whatever. And then again we could come down to the kind of. So one of the homeworks that I give them was just choose 2 questions. Choose a simple what is, and then a why or a how question, and try and answer it. And I said, but the only thing I need you to do is you need to write down where you got the information from. And I didn't go into the kind of, oh, you might want to look at this. No, I didn't do that at all, just to sort of get the answer.
Yes.
And then they came back with that, and then we had a great lesson just going through the websites, and just really interesting.
I think I'm absolutely fascinated by this, because part of my job now is I come and see lessons. So I came and saw Andy teaching Why Is It So Important to Remember, which was so moving I could barely feel in my frenzy. And I thought he was a fantastic trainee. Nevertheless, there was a very able and articulate Muslim girl who was saying the most incredible things in the lesson. But at one point, I was sitting nearby, and she said, well, of course we'd expect Steven Spielberg to say that because he's Jewish. Right? Now, when I then came to see Maggie's lesson, and okay, there was a lot of investment in that lesson, and he felt there were times when he quite liked investment in some other things. But nevertheless, by the end of the lesson, I was absolutely certain that every kid in the room, as certain as he can be, had got a respect for the testimony of the people that they had been studying. So, in other words, because they, and the lesson in which they'd been involved had included some generation of their own questions.
Well, that's the key to it, because they've been involved in creating the source. Then they're going to have a greater understanding of how sources work and how history is generated. In a way, that's what I think. I've got the whole interpretations thing the wrong way round. In a way, we should involve them in creating their own interpretations, and then it'll be easier to see, well, how have you come to this decision? Which is that higher level, how and why our interpretations created, rather than the big structural thing which we put onto them to kind of make sure that they get to that. But yet, it's really difficult, because I do still believe in the scaffolding idea, and I think the scaffolding, to make it work or whatever. But yet, at some point, I think building it from the bottom up maybe is what we've lost, or I've lost, or no, I never have. I don't know what it is, but I think there is a bit of that. So I think if they're involved in the creation of it, then I think we're getting somewhere, because then they'll be able to reflect on it.
Wow, fascinating. Good. Okay.